More than 2 years after Christina Yuna Lee was brutally murdered in her New York City apartment, is there finally movement on her case to get justice for her murder? You can check out the video that I did honoring Christina Yuna Lee's life in the video that I did 2 years ago right here. But a quick refresher on what happened. On February 13th, 2022, Christina Yuna Lee was entering her apartment roughly around 4 o'clock in the morning. But unbeknownst to Christina, the front door to her apartment complex, the one that stays always locked, before it could close, this man followed her into the apartment building and then continued to follow her to her apartment door and then forced himself in when she opened the apartment. And as you can see from this still from the surveillance video, it happened around 4:23 in the morning, and when she started to scream, one of her neighbors called 911. And within 2 minutes since that video was taken in her hallway, before she was even inside of her apartment, two NYPD police officers arrived at her door, and even though they could hear her screaming through the door, they did not try to break into her apartment. In fact, when the screaming abruptly stopped, because Christina Yuna Lee at that point had been stabbed over 40 times and was now deceased, they still didn't break in through the door and continued to talk through the door with the murderer. And it wasn't until an hour and 20 minutes later that police finally showed up so that they can breach the door and then arrested the murderer. And now, over 2 years later, has the murderer finally pled guilty to murder and burglary as a sexually motivated felony. He's facing 30 years to life in prison, and his sentencing is scheduled for July 30th. But Christina Yuna Lee's family isn't just stopping there. Her family has also filed lawsuits against members of the NYPD and the city of New York, stating that it was delays in the police and medical assistance that ultimately led to her death. Because let me show you something. This is Christina's apartment, and this is the closest police station to her apartment, less than 3 blocks away. And there is absolutely no reason why two officers not only stood outside her door and listened to her die, but that it took backup over an hour and 20 minutes to go less than 3 blocks. And if they had done their job, Christina Yuna Lee would 100% be alive right now. Rest in peace, Christina Yuna Lee.